maybe at a tone that we regret, and then having to go back and saying, ooh, let's pretend I didn't say that, or ooh, I wish I hadn't, let me apologize to you, and then blurp, it comes out again and again the next time we're triggered, right? And our relationships can only sustain so many I'm sorry's. When that pattern doesn't change, what happens is trust drops, and trust is the foundation of love, right? Now, for those of us who are raised in abusive backgrounds, that's going to be a tendency to just say the first thing that your triggered brain comes up with to defend and protect yourself. The other thing that people often do with their words is zip it, and they let people say what they want to say. These are the people that got abused or shut down or intimidated as children and got threatened for, lived with parents who had the philosophy children should be seen and not heard. So some of us have to find our voices and learn how to speak up in a consistent and clear and strong enough way, even though our nervous system, might shut down. We might even disassociate in the face of somebody who's speaking nonstop or speaking in a loud tone or using words that are other than kind. So wherever you fall on that spectrum, from not having the brain pattern to really hold your ground, hold your center, hold your boundaries, or feeling like you accidentally lash out and flash attack, or, use your words in a way that you later regret, this is going to be a useful tap. And for anyone who's been abused by words, right, where it programmed you when you were young, and those same things are coming out of your mouth now, or those same habits of holding back and then letting it fly. So think about where you want to use this session in terms of, do you have a conversation that you need to have? Maybe it's a cleanup conversation for blowing up and exploding. Maybe it's a conversation for being able to say, you know what, no, or I quit, or I'm doing this now, or I'm leaving and I'm changing. So wherever it is that this conscious communication is going to benefit you the most and bring you the most relief, that's where I suggest you focus for today's session. Remembering that you can do this again and again, and it'll be here on Facebook for you to use as well. All right, so into the core causes questions we go. We're going to share a link to our subscribers to do it live. There'll be a button that pops up. And for those who are in Facebook, you are going to get a little screen share. So open up that screen as much as you can and jot down the answers, or at least answer the questions to yourself. You may not have all the answers, but what it does is it sends a little internal Google search into yourself, and you start accessing the subconscious material that's been hidden because there hasn't been an inquiry yet. And now we're inquiring to see if we want to keep the pattern that we established at 2 or at 5 or at 1 or at 12, or if we want to edit and change and resave that to update it to what you, your now self, chooses and selects to be most beneficial. All right, into the core causes questions we go. 5 minutes, and then we're going to get to tapping and moving this stuff on through. See you on the other side. All right, sweethearts, hopefully that was enlightening. Now we're going to jump into the tapping portal where I'm going to guide you through a session. You're going to repeat what I say, editing the words to more perfectly fit your situation. You're going to keep breathing, and we're going to let this pattern go. We're going to break it apart and give you back this beautiful, balanced space inside to communicate clearly and consciously. Okay, off we go. Finding the collarbones, dropping down from the collarbones to the front of the chest, giving a gentle massage to the front of the chest. Big deep breath. Tuning into your issue. Repeating after me. Even though I have this issue with communication, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Big deep breath. Good. Tapping the eyebrows, this issue, and then describe what it is. Maybe it's withholding until the last minute. Maybe it's making stuff up because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble. Describe it for 30 seconds as you tap your temples. Tapping the front of the cheeks. This issue around communicating cleanly, calmly, and clearly. Tapping under the nose. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping under the lips. Even if I've done this a long time. Tapping the chest and breathing. And just tuning into how long this has been an issue for you. If you were to be really honest, maybe it's been your entire life. Maybe you had the opposite issue and then you overcorrected in this direction. Tapping the bottom of the front of the ribs, big deep breath. This issue that I've been dealing with in one way or another for how long? Big deep breath. And tapping the side of the ribs. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even though this has been difficult. So just tuning in to how difficult this has been. Tapping the top of the head. So what's been created with this issue? Maybe you lost your own trust. Maybe other people stopped trusting you. Big deep breath. And big sigh. And tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the temples, even though this has cost me. And what has it cost you? Say it out loud. Tapping the front of the cheeks. Even if this has cost me, and then say what it is. Self-respect, or other people's respect, or my reputation, or other people's sense of safety. What does it cost? Tapping under the nose. Tapping under the lips. I'm open to loving and healing myself. Tapping the chest. And just open your heart to the possibility of finally being able to release this old pattern. Tapping the front of the ribs. This has been going on since, and then when do you think it started? Where did you pick up this pattern? Is it from your environment when you were young and the way that people spoke to you, or lied to you, or refused to speak to you? Tapping the side of the ribs. Maybe it was the example that was set in your family home of silence or yelling. And breathe. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I grew up in an environment where, and then describe for a few seconds where this pattern came from for you. Big deep breath. And tapping the side of the thumb. I'm open to loving and healing myself, tapping the index finger. Even if I absorbed this pattern of, and then describe the pattern again, freezing up or yelling or big deep breath. Tapping the middle finger, even though I absorbed this pattern and have been enacting this for so many years, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. Big deep breath. Tapping the little finger. I'm open to forgiving myself. Tapping the side of the hand. For how much pain and dysfunction this has created for me and for others. So just thinking about that, if you're somebody who loses their temper or uses words or have used words to manipulate or dominate or intimidate others, then you know the pain it's created, right? Coming from this place of fear inside yourself. But also not saying something when it needed to be said, when feedback or a correction needed to be made, creates pain because it allows other people to get by with bad behavior, which goes on to inflict pain on you and others. So tapping the top of the head and being open to accepting for now your part in holding on to this pattern, not knowing what to do with it or how to deal with it. Tapping the back of the head, the sides of the head, or maybe just struggling, still kind of struggling in the cleanup of this. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and recovering all my communication power. Tapping the temples. I am allowing myself the possibility of cleaning up how and when I communicate. Tapping the cheeks, big deep breath. Whew. Let's say that one again, tapping under the nose. I am open to the possibility of cleaning up how and when I communicate. Tapping under the lips and breathing. And tapping the chest. I deeply and completely forgive myself, or I'm open to deeply and completely forgiving myself, tapping the front of the ribs, for doing what, and then say where you got the pattern. For example, doing what my dad did, or doing what my mom did, or overcorrecting the opposite direction so I wouldn't do what my dad did, or I wouldn't do what my mom did, right? Tapping the side of the ribs. And then just say where you fall on that. Did you mimic the adults in your environment? Or did you do the opposite to try to keep yourself from using your words in a harmful way? tapping the top of the head. I'm open to releasing my fear of, and then say what your fear is around this. Tapping the top of the head and the back of the head. This fear of, tapping the temples, and say it out loud. What is your fear? Is it of hurting people? Or is it of getting hurt? If I speak up, I'm going to be attacked. Tapping the temples and breathing. Tapping the cheeks. I'm open to releasing my fear of. Big deep breath. Tapping under the nose. This pattern has been looping. Tapping under the lips. It's understandable why I have this fear in the first place. And just give yourself some acknowledgement and some compassion for what happened and maybe what continued to happen. Big deep breath, big sigh, tapping the side of the ribs, down to the front of the ribs. It's safe for me to begin to process what I saw and then say who. What I saw my dad do or what I heard my mom do. And if you were raised by grandparents or foster parents or step parents or wolves, you can say, it's safe for me to process what I saw them do or heard them do. Tapping the side of the ribs and breathing. Now take a whole minute and I want you to describe what that was, where this pattern came from. For example, I saw my mom give my dad the silent treatment when she was angry, refusing to speak what was true and real and bothering her. Or I saw my dad use his words as weapons and dominate and terrify the kids and everyone in the house. Tapping the side of the thumb, big deep breath. Tapping the index finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the middle finger. Even though this happened so many times. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. And I responded by, so how did you respond to the situation? Maybe you hid in a closet. Maybe you learned to fight back. Tap the little finger. I responded to these early imprints by doing what? Tapping the side of the hand. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, tapping the top of the head. Even though I decided that words, and then say what was true for you. Words were weapons, or words could get me in trouble. Or words are a way to manipulate and make people do things, or make people like me. Tapping the back of the head, sides of the head, tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and healing myself, tapping the temples. Even if I decided a long time ago that words were what? Maybe it was that words didn't matter, or that words hurt. Tapping the cheeks. Tapping under the nose. I give myself permission to heal the fear and anger, tapping under the lips, behind what happened. So I want you to tune in again to this early time in your life and see if there's anger left over from not getting to be heard, or from being bullied and yelled at or abused psychologically. Tapping the chest. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the front of the ribs. Even though a part of me is still recovering, tap the side of the ribs, from what happened back then and the impact it had on me. Tapping the inside of the wrist. And what was that impact? Maybe you lost your power. Maybe you became bigger and bigger and being like, I'm just going to rage louder. I'm going to yell because this is a yelly family. Tapping the side of the thumb. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tapping the index finger. Giving myself permission. Tap the middle finger. To recover right use of my words. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. To notice my feelings, my needs. Tapping the little finger to be able to process. Speaking out loud. Tapping the side of the hand. Learning to feel safe. Tapping the top of the head. Creating safe spaces and safe relationships for me to share what's going on inside me. Tapping the back of the head, the sides of the head, and breathing. And tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the temples. Exactly as I am. Tapping the cheeks. Even if this is such an old pattern, tapping under the nose. And it's created so much shame, embarrassment, sadness. Tapping under the lips. I'm open to loving and forgiving myself. Tapping the chest. For using my words this way. Tapping the front of the ribs for any pain it's created for me. So just tune in and notice what pain it's created. Maybe to leave things unsaid, to leave questions unasked, or to leave answers unspoken. Tapping the side of the ribs, or to speak in ways that other people couldn't hear. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm releasing this habit and any remaining embarrassment, stress, or trauma I've carried in my body. Tapping the side of the thumb, releasing any remaining embarrassment. Tapping the index finger, grief, big deep breath. Middle finger, stress or trauma. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. About my ability to communicate consciously, clearly, calmly, my feelings, needs, and boundaries. Tapping the little finger. I forgive myself for being too rough or too gentle, too quiet. Tap the side of the hand. For any confusion this has created for me or for others. Tapping the top of the head. So what is your underlying need underneath your old pattern? Maybe it was a need to be respected, so you had to get really loud because you grew up in an environment where the loudest was the one that commanded the most respect. Or maybe it was safety. And you grew up going, well, the person who says the least is the safest. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. And tapping the temples. Tapping the cheeks. I allow myself to feel safe. Tapping into the nose. To feel respected and heard. Tapping under the lips. As I learn how to communicate honestly and directly, tapping the chest, in a timely way, tapping the front of the ribs. So let's talk about that for a second, a timely way, right? The time that you're going to have the greatest success in being heard and having your message received is when you yourself are coming from a less triggered state. So you can always tap on the whole conversation you want to have and process the anguish, the fear, the frustration, the injustice before you have the conversation, and then have a cleaner, clearer, more abbreviated conversation where you can say what you mean and mean what you say and stand by it. Tapping the inside of the wrist and breathe. Tapping the side of the thumb. I'm open to forgiving myself and anyone else involved in this pattern. And then just say a list of names. Who's been involved in this pattern of yours? From most recently to where it really started. Tapping the index finger and breathe. I'm giving myself the ability to forgive all of us for getting involved in this pattern, and tapping the middle finger and needing to play it out with each other. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. We all were afraid. We all felt injustice. Tap the little finger. We all wanted to be heard. Tap the side of the hand, and we all needed to feel safe. Tapping the top of the head and breathing. I'm releasing these leftover feelings of, and then say what's still left over for you in regards to this way of communicating. Maybe this, like, I check out and disassociate and leave my body. Or maybe it's my temper flares and I can't stop my mouth. Or maybe it's I talk so much when I'm nervous and just blurt out all kinds of things in an effort to feel loved and accepted. And tapping the eyebrows. Big deep breath. It's safe for me to release these feelings of anxiety, tapping into the nose, of not being safe, tapping tapping under the lips, of not being heard. Tapping the chest, releasing these feelings of not being heard or understood. Tapping down to the front of the ribs. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the side of the ribs. And I give myself permission to release any remaining stress, guilt, shame, or shutdown. Let's say those again. Tapping the inside of the wrist, releasing stress, guilt, shame, or shutdown. Tapping the side of the thumb and breathing. Tapping the index finger. I love and respect myself, or I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tapping the index finger. Reclaiming my calm, clear voice. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I deserve to be heard and understood. Tapping the little finger. It's safe for me. Tapping the side of the hand. To be heard and understood now. Tapping the top of the head. I give myself permission to be heard and understood. Even if this is not the environment I grew up in. Tap the eyebrows. And I was taught, and then say again what you picked up from that environment. Maybe it was a way of speaking that your family or a group you were in taught you to be like. Tapping the cheeks. Again, I was trained to do what? Tapping under the lips. It's safe for me to come back to my center now. Tapping the chest. So I can feel good about what I say. So that others can respect and understand my meaning. Tapping the front of the ribs. So I can stay in my body, knowing what to share and when to share it. Tapping the side of the ribs. Releasing the fear of being bullied, intimidated, interrogated. Releasing the fear of, and then say what that fear is for you. Maybe it's being told that you are bullying, or that you're interrogating, or you're intimidating. Tap the side of the thumb, this remaining fear. Tapping the index finger, big deep breath, tuning into it again. Feel where that fear around communication lives in your body. Maybe you feel it in your jaw, your teeth, your tongue, your throat, your neck, your shoulders, your head. Maybe it's your stomach. Tap the middle finger. I'm releasing my fear of being attacked, abandoned, misunderstood, having my words twisted and used against me. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the little finger, allowing my communication to come from a clear, calm, conscious place. Tapping the side of the hand. Allowing myself to slow down and take my time. Tapping the top of the head. to think clearly, and to speak up honestly. Tapping the side of the head, even if other people don't like what I'm saying, it's okay. Tap the eyebrows. What else could happen? Even if other people use my words against me. Big deep breath. I'm giving myself permission to stay in integrity with myself. Tapping the cheeks. To know that I did the very best I could to be heard and understood. Tapping under the nose. Big deep breath. Tapping under the lips. I allow my words to create connection and conscious community, right? Everyone that you're relating to and talking to are really a part of your personal community. Tapping the chest, the people you work with, the people that you teach, the people that are in your family, your lovers, your friends. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm learning how to communicate in a timely, concise way. Tapping the inside of the wrist. Allowing my words to carry a conscious, calm energy. Tap the side of the hand. Big deep breath. Tapping down to the index finger. What are you going to create for yourself? What do you want your words to be able to do for you? Maybe it's to inspire, to create friendship. Tap the middle finger. Maybe you want your words to be healing. I know that I've made a choice to use my words as a healing tool, right? That I don't use my words to attack, because words penetrate deeply, right? Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tap the little finger. Allowing myself to say what needs to be said and to hear what others are really trying to say. Tap the side of the hand. Big deep breath. Tapping the top of the head. I'm allowing myself to clean up my communication now. By doing what? What are you going to create for yourself? Use your words to create some affirmations, to affirm to yourself, okay, I'm cleaning up my communication by doing what? Maybe you're pre-processing what you want to say so it comes out clean and clear. Maybe you're going to write things down and send it in a text or an email so that it can't be mistaken, so that it is understood and able to be referred back to. Maybe you're going to learn to listen and not put so many words in the field. To notice that your constant input isn't as needed as you thought. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm creating for myself, and then say what it is that you're creating. Say the same thing again, tapping the side of the ribs, big, deep, noisy breath, strong exhalation. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I love and respect myself. Tap the side of the thumb. And I'm allowing myself to grow in this area, to claim my calm, clear voice. Tapping the index finger. to use my words wisely, to help stabilize and connect. Tap the middle finger, to create freedom and peace for myself and others. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm allowing myself to listen deeply to myself, to my feelings and fears. Tap the little finger. To process the emotion before I open my mouth. Tap the side of the hand. Big deep breath. Tapping the top of the head. I am committing to upgrading my ability to communicate. Tapping the back of the head and the side of the head. Say it 3 times like you mean it. I am committing to upgrading my ability to communicate, and then say what that might look like for you. Does it mean no more withholds, that you're speaking honestly in a timely manner when things are small before they become big? Or maybe it's I'm going to learn to sit and process safely, either within myself or with others, before confronting something that I feel needs to be addressed. Tapping the cheeks. I'm allowing myself this kindness. Tapping under the nose. This is a service to myself. Tapping under the lips and my relationships. Tapping the chest. This is a kindness to myself and others. Tapping the front of the ribs so I can express myself cleanly and clearly. Tapping the side of the ribs so others can understand my meaning. Tapping the inside of the wrist and receive what I have to say. Tap the side of the thumb. Big deep breath. I'm allowing myself to be received. Tap the index finger. Releasing any more fear of punishment or being ignored. Tapping the middle finger. Allowing what I have to say to be heard, respected, and understood. Let's say that one again. I'm allowing what I have to say to be heard, respected, and understood. Big deep breath. Tapping the little finger. What would that be like? To be given the respect of being heard? Because you've heard yourself deeply and you're communicating the essential essence, this distilled, purified, hey, it's really simple, to be able to clean up conversations. What would that be like? To speak up, to feel safe enough, to hold your ground in a loving but unflappable way. To know when to say something and when to allow silence. To feel comfortable with that silence and that space. And tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the temples. I'm allowing myself to say what I mean and to mean what I say. Tapping under the nose. To pre-process any discomfort before it creates discomfort for others. Tapping the chest. So another thing I want to tell you right now is that when you're telling someone what you want, I want you to learn to speak in the affirmative. It's much easier to hear. It's much more inviting. If you're enrolling them to be a certain way or do a certain thing or think about it, don't tell them, here's what I don't want. Say what you do want. Instead of saying, I don't want to fight with you, say, I want to create and find a way for us to come together and to have both of our needs met as much as possible here. Right? So just drop that into this tap here. I am allowing myself to create consciously with my communication what I want to be experiencing and what I want others to experience in my presence. Tapping the side of the ribs. I am creating consciously with my words, which are a force of creation. Tap the inside of the wrist. Allowing myself to align and refine the way and the when I communicate. Tap the side of the thumb. Say again what it is that you know you're doing. Is it adjusting to communicate sooner before things bubble up? Is it adjusting to communicate a little less in a more kind, conscious, distilled way? I give myself this conscious command to understand how to use my words wisely. Tap the middle finger in a timely and healthy way. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I might be the first person in my family to ever learn how to do this well. Big, deep, noisy breath. And that's okay. Tapping the middle finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the side of the hand. I'm allowing myself to grow and evolve far beyond my conditioning. Tapping the top of the head. Allowing myself to consciously create care and compassion, to communicate respectfully in a timely manner, tapping the eyebrows, knowing when to pause and wait, tapping the temples, and when to speak up, quickly and clearly, tapping the cheeks, releasing any remaining regret, tapping into the nose, tuning into regretting. Why didn't I know how to do this before? Or, oh my gosh, I've tried so long, tapping into the lips. I'm growing and learning, tapping the chest. Allowing myself to be heard, to rebuild my trust of myself, my trust with others. Tapping the front of the ribs, allowing myself to release any remaining regret. Tapping the inside of the wrist, coming into alignment with consciously communicating. Tapping all over the body. Good job, everyone. Just integrating the work that we just did. I'd love to know your experience of this tap. Drop it in the chat. You can email us at support@sonyasofia.us, SONYASOPHIA.us. I'd love to know how this tap affected you and what you're committed to as a result, as you're upgrading, because it is powerful to have other people enlisted. And when I read your comments, I'm enlisted. I'm holding you in that space, emotionally and spiritually, saying, okay, this is what this person's now doing. This is who they are becoming. I'm holding you in that light as you crystallize and solidify into this updated version of yourself. And so are the others who read these comments. So beautiful. What else did I want to tell you while you're putting your comments in? We have a donation button. I would love for you guys to help donate to this platform. It gives us the opportunity to give the free month of healing to people that need it so they can try it. It helps us keep our prices as low as possible so that people who are struggling can still afford kick-ass therapy and really make something of this time that they have and this, this platform. The donate button is worldtappingcircle.com/donate. I thank you for those donations that come in every month. And let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Diane says, I'm committing to staying present, speaking with integrity, and thoughtfully when communicating. Beautiful. Good for you, Diane. I am as well. Hang in there, you guys. I'm going to leave you with a really powerful song in just a moment. You're not going to want to miss it. So at the end of each circle, I let you know a really cool artist and a really cool song with really beautiful lyrics that you can keep adding to your Spotify playlists. Carl says, I'm learning to accept myself and that speaking my mind will not make those I love go away by speaking up for my needs. Great. I love that. Well, I'm learning to communicate gently and clearly the minute I feel myself detaching or pulling away so that I can stay authentically, lovingly present with the people in my life and not distance myself emotionally because I'm afraid of my feelings or their feelings. Let's see. Joyce says, thank you. My mind and emotions jumped from situation to situation of difficult communications in different phases of my life, brought up so many emotions like a boiling tea kettle. I hope to address all with patience and integrity. Great, Joyce. You might want to do this tap again. Things are all settling right now and processing through. Sometimes it comes out when you're dreaming and resting. Give it a day and then start just tapping on your own even for 2 or 3 minutes on each situation. You might be able to resolve many, many sets of memories just on your own. And if you need help, use this video. Natalia says, it was hard to get into it first. Mine was about assuming I am unheard and dismissed when I feel invested in something. Due to very old patterns, I slowly drowned my talent and true self in trying to fit in with other adults. I will find my writer voice again. I miss her. Wow. Well, Natalia, I'm happy for you and the world who's going to get to know you. Wow, do you guys hear that? There's a rainstorm. There's thunder and lightning here in Austin. I'm hearing it outside. William says, feeling great. I'm going to practice reading out what I write since my brain processes information differently, and I'm better at being kind when I write than when I speak out loud. Thank you for such a timely tap. You are so welcome. I'm going to read the rest of these comments to myself as you listen to a great song. I'm also going to let you know that I train practitioners. So if you are called to be an EFT practitioner, and you want to learn how to use this and get a ton of healing done and also help a lot of other people, I'd be honored to be your teacher. You can find out more information at trainwithsonia.us. trainwithsonia.us. There is a fall training coming up at the end of October through the beginning of November, and it's an application process. I am still taking inquiries into studying with me. All right, I'm going to leave you with this great song by Maestra. The Calling of, oh my goodness, I can't read my own writing. The Culture of Love. We are creating the culture of love with our voices, with our intentions, and with our healing. I love you so much. You can find Maestra and the Culture of Love on Spotify. I see you in the circle, friends.
Of obscurity, yeah, the world I see, malicious and vicious traditions masquerade around as the right way to be. It seems culture's got pull with the people, fear in the shadows and it's building steeples. So easy to fall into that hole if it's how we were born. You say it's just the things that I have been taught, it's just the way that I was brought up, it's just the way that my people live. No other way but to give in. You've been speaking to me like different is dangerous, like the world's got no space for us, but our timing is perfect. The new world is worth it and we're waking up. Who the hell am I to say I am God and God is us and we are not lost? Who the hell am I to be the whistleblower, to stand for a different culture, a culture of love. Who the hell am I to be allowed and free to show up as I am, determined to be dismantling the pain we bring, the stories in service of our suffering's purpose in society. I'll give you a key. The answer is me. Look in the mirror, we're the source of our own suffering. You want the world to change, then rearrange to be in line with the love you bring, with the light you see, with the light you see. Set your own heart free. Oh, who the hell are you to say you are God, that God is us and we are not lost? Who the hell are you to be the whistleblower, to stand for a different culture, a culture of love, a culture of love. I'm giving up resistance, my heart is insistent. Offer my soul to you in every instant. Authentic calling to my one true mission, to love the world through my music and vision. I'm all in, ready to fall in line with this love divine, with this world of mine. Together we'll rise and bring the shadows right to a place of light. I offer my life and I need you to live a life you love, and I need you to know that you're enough just as you are. We are on the cusp of this new world, and in you I trust. Every broken piece in place of shame is just love showing you the way. So let the darkness teach you your own name, so in the shadows you can see